Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the football podcast. The guys here, they're talking games gone, games to come, and everything in between. Yeah, football, baby. That's what we want. Before we get started, please do consider like, share, subscribe, and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Share the podcast around. That's the one. That's the one we like. That's the one we like the most. Right, let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, the football podcast.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and it's your Easter weekend wrap-up session for us here at the CookieCast Podcast Network. From a footballing perspective, obviously I'm joined by Hull's finest, wearing this season's away kit, no less, Mr. Stuart Woodmansey. How are we, sir?
All right. I've got the away shirt on midweek because I actually spent a little bit of time this afternoon with some of the players in a club event capacity. But more on that later.
I was going to say, I imagine we'll probably end today's podcast with that little ditty right there. So let's waste no further time and we'll jump back into week 31's games, of which there were 5. And we start with the big top of the table clash where it was second versus fourth. Yeah, second versus fourth, where my lot Middlesbrough took on Millwall at the Riverside. And I'm starting to sound like a bit of a broken record here, but Borough started the game quickly and really should have taken the lead within about 4 minutes of this one. Corner routine worked over from the right hand side, flicked into the path of Dale Fry, who found himself unmarked at the back stick, and he blazed over the bar. It's becoming a bit of a joke at the moment. The sheer level of chances that Borough are creating in games that are very, very good chances within the sort of the 6-yard box, and they're just failing to convert those chances. Luckily, it didn't come back to bite him in the arse, in as much as they did take the lead on the 26th minute. Again, it was a corner from the left-hand side that sort of pinged around the box a little bit, worked its way out to the right-hand side. Aidan Morris played the ball back to Alan Brown, who clipped the ball in. And again, it was Dale Fry who found himself unmarked about the back post. And he managed to slam home from about 4 yards out. So obviously, just needed that one to get his sight in to be able to make it 1-0 to the Borough. And insanely, for a centre half, he should have wrapped up his first half hat trick about 5 minutes from the end of the first half, when he found himself once again in the box. Not unmarked this time, but he did manage to get his. He was the last guy to get a touch on it towards the goal. But Femi Aziz was back on the line to get a toe on it to just keep it out and keep it at 1-0 Borough as we went into the half. Into the second half, and in very much an eerily similar fashion to when Millwall played Ipswich in the last game week. It was Millwall that had all the running in the second half. An early warning shot when there was an effort from the right-hand side that sort of managed to make its way into the box. Solbrin managed to push out the initial effort, pushed it up into the air. Good save, as it was a bit of a snapshot. Pushed it up into the air, and then obviously Josh Coburn was trying to follow it in, but Broom managed to get enough hands on it to keep it out and keep the score at 1-0. It didn't stay at 1-0 for very long, however, as that man, Josh Coburn, was not to be denied, and he got his first on the 58th minute. It was, I believe, another corner. It wasn't. I don't think it was a corner routine this time. It might have been a throw-in from the right-hand side, but eventually it managed to make its way sort of to the back stick, where Ivanovic hooked it back into the path of Coburn, who finished quite smartly from about the edge of the 6-yard box, just a bit of a tall, like sort of snap turn and finish to make it 1-1. Did he celebrate? Oh, you bet your ass he did. Straight in front of the Millwall supporters, giving it the big licks, making it 1-1. Up the other end, Aidan Morris probably should have made it 2-1 to the Borough. McGree did some good work down the left-hand side and played the ball across. Missed Strelec, who was in the centre, and Morris was running onto it at the back post. Should have just shot first time, but inexplicably took a touch and then had to reset himself. And by the time he got his strike away, Millwall managed to get players back in. And that one sadly would prove costly. As Millwall took the lead on the 86th minute, it was Melander that was trying to play the ball out from the back, driving into the midfield. She looked to pick a pass just around the centre circle, but sadly Barry Bannon stood in the way of it, took possession, fed the ball into Coburn, and he did the business from inside the box. Luke Ayling obviously missed the fact in training that Josh Coburn is right-footed, so perfectly showed him onto his right foot so he could just bend the ball around the goalkeeper. Nothing Bryn could do with the effort. They just sort of worked its way underneath him to give Millwall a 2-1 lead that they would not surrender in the final 5 or 10 minutes of the game and get them a very, very valuable 2-1 win that took them to second place and left Borough all the way down in third. They would actually temporarily fall to fourth place when Ipswich won their game on Easter Monday, but not a good Friday for Middlesbrough at all. And that means they are now winless in their last winless in their last 4, and they haven't won a game at the Riverside since the end of January. So, an alarmingly bad time to lose form, especially when you're in the race for the almighty promotion spots. Predictions-wise, Stuart gone for a 1-0 Borough win with Brown to score the goal, so no points there. I'd gone for a 2-2 draw. I was close. Sadly, Castledine was never scoring as he wasn't even in the squad. And Britton, whilst he was good going forward, never really got into any position to be able to score. Macaulay Langstaff didn't really play much of the game, but Josh Coburn very much did. So I do bag myself a bonus point for the fact that he scored his inevitable goal to bring tears to many, many people on Teesside. So just a 1 point for me, Stuart, to get off the mark. Can he get off the mark in the second game of the week, which took place in Oxfordshire, when Oxford United were taking on his boys, Hull City? I did have this one on in the background as I was trying to corral my son into not, beating himself around the head with his play toys and whatnot. So I did actually watch this one, and it wasn't. It was a good start.
Yeah, Hull set off at pace in this one and were ahead after just 4 minutes. A big, long diagonal ball from Shemi Ajayi down the right-hand side to Balumi, who sort of controlled it on his chest, which took it into the box. He outpaced the left back to cut in and then fire a low shot in. It did look like one of them ones that was kind of skimming through the air just above the grass, and there was a covering defender tried to make a block, and it seemed to skim off the underneath of their thigh into the ground, which then lifted it sort of. It didn't deflect it out of the keeper's way. It maybe just kind of distracted him a little bit, I think. But either way, cracking start and 1-0 up after 4 minutes. But 10 minutes later, Oxford were level. Will Lancashire broke into the box, and Charlie Hughes decided that was just the perfect moment to think, I know what I'm going to do. I'm just going to smash him into the ground from behind. It was the clearest penalty you'll ever see. It was only he was only saved from it being a red card, in my opinion, by the fact that there was a covering defender, which, by the way, would have been his second red card in 2 appearances. Just insanity. But yeah, penalty given, converted to equalise by Brannigan, went to the left side of the keeper. Now, on the note of the keeper, it wasn't Pandor in goal. Dylan Phillips got his league debut for Hull. Pandor was deemed to have done a lot of travelling on international duty. I should say so. He plays for Croatia, and they decided to arrange a friendly just round the corner in Brazil. And he went all that way and sat on the bench. So it was deemed that he wasn't ready to start. Basically, he was a bit tired. But however, Phillips did play well from what I saw. He was out to the edge of his box multiple times. He was distributing a lot quicker than Pandor does from the bits I have seen. So it seems to have come on a little bit from his league, no, FA Cup appearance against Chelsea when we last saw him. So that was nice to see. Anyway, moving into half time, the game opened up a little bit, and both sides did have chances. Lancashire heading over for Oxford, and Kyle Joseph having a shot saved for Hull. But having said all this, the second half was very much a non-event. Though Oxford did a lot more of the pressing, they couldn't find a winner, and the game finished 1-1. Not really helping either side. Oxford in the request to try and get out of the bottom three, and Hull in the request to try and stay in touch with the top two, but more importantly, stay in the playoffs at the very least. A point gained, perhaps, but very much a game I would have thought they would have earmarked for victory if at all possible.
Yeah, disappointing one from like a playoff chasing perspective. Obviously, they do still find themselves in the spots, so like you say, not catastrophic, and it's better than a loss. So I suppose you have to take the positive. Predictions wise, it's no points for anyone. Sadly, Stuart gone for a 2-0 away win with Gelhart and McBurney to score. I'd gone for a 2-1 away win with Crooks and Kumas to score, and Harris to score for the home team. So no points for me. So it's still just me with that one solitary point from the first game. Our third game of the week takes us to Easter Monday, and the first game was Swansea City versus Milo Middlesbrough, and you'll be shocked to hear this, lads, but Borough started this one on fast. They were on the front foot almost immediately in the game, and strange enough, this time they didn't miss a glorious chance right at the first case. They actually scored with, I believe, their first meaningful attack of the game. It was a switch of play. On the right-hand side, Callum Britton played the ball over to the left-hand side, where Tommy Conway picked it up. He drove with the ball and had, returning to the side, Alex Bangura with his first start in I believe, since Southampton at home, which he went off injured in. He was on the overlap on the left-hand side. Conway just played a little ball into Bangura's feet, just inside the in the box. Oh, sorry, not inside, not into his feet, just into his path. Bangura latched onto the ball, and first time sent an absolute rasper straight past Vigouroux's, inside his near post. Vigouroux did get a hand to it, but was only able to push it into the roof of the net. So 1-0 Borough after 12 minutes. Sadly, that's not the last time I'm going to mention Mr. Bangura's name, as 8 minutes later, he went from being the toast of Teesside to, well, for want of a better phrase, the twat of Teesside, as the ball was played in from the left-hand side. Swansea, they actually played quite a nice little pass and move, bit of football, and the ball had made its way out to Cullen on the edge of the box. God. I really don't know how to describe this. I can only presume that Bangura just momentarily just forgot that he was playing football, and decided that there must have been some sort of grenade on the floor that he needed to throw himself on, in case it exploded at a moment's notice. as he sort of made an attempt to challenge for the ball, but got absolutely nowhere near it, completely wiped out Cullen for one of the most obvious penalties you'll ever see. Just a really, really bad challenge. Not bad in the means that it's dangerous, just a really poorly timed, awful challenge. Stonewall penalty. Vipotnik gets the ball, sticks it on the spot, waits for Bryn to go the wrong way, sends it in the other corner. 1-1. Not a great deal happened in the rest of the first half until we got to 4 minutes of added time. A ball over the top. Swansea guy chases onto it, very much going away from goal. Absolutely no danger. So for the second time in the space of 25 minutes, one of the Borough players decides to have some sort of mental breakdown, and Sol Bryn goes chasing the ball. He's getting absolutely nowhere near it. So what does he do? He lunges for it with his hand, clearly brings down the Swansea guy. Second penalty, second absolute stonewaller. Can't have any complaints. Vipotnik gets the ball, sticks it on the spot, does the exact same thing, sticks it in the opposite corner this time. 2-1 Swansea. Middlesbrough very much shooting themselves in the foot. They very much being the actors of their own downfall at the moment because, oh, good Lord, it's bad. So 2-1 at half-time to Swansea. Into the second half, Borough were pushing to get an equaliser and then obviously carry on from there to see if they could get back into the game. Morris had a very, very good chance. Worked it onto his right foot, tried to use the defender to screen the ball, sent the bending shot out into the far corner, but Vigouroux managed to get a very, very good hand on it to tip it wide. And then Borough did get back into it on the 75th minute when Britton was attacking down the right-hand side. A couple of little challenges here and there between him and the Swansea player. Feels an arm go onto his back, so obviously sends him sprawling. Looked a bit soft. I don't know if the ref felt bad that he'd already given 2 penalties to Swansea, but he gives one for the Borough. Tommy Conway gets the ball, sticks it on the spot, waits for the keeper to dive, just slots it straight down the middle. 2-2. So from that point, it was Borough that was pushing for a winner. Sonji Hansen, the ball sat up nice for him to volley from the edge of the box. Whiskers wide. Alex Gilbert was played in on the right-hand side, but his tame effort was straight at the goalkeeper. And then right at the death, Swansea could have actually won it themselves. Was inside the box on the left-hand side. His effort was neatly tipped wide by Sol Bryn, somewhat making up for his error with the penalty early in the game. But yet again, Borough cannot find the killer touch to draw themselves back leading in the game. So it peters out to a 2-2 draw, and even more points lost or dropped in the race for automatic promotion. Coupled with Ipswich's win earlier in the day against Birmingham, that I've had to actually drop Borough down to 4th, like I said, but this draw did take them back above Millwall into 3rd place. Sadly for Borough and Millwall, they are all level on points with Ipswich, but Ipswich do have 2 games in hand. Granted, those games are against Portsmouth, who are struggling down the bottom and doing everything they can to stay in the division, and Southampton, who are on an absolute tear at the moment. So it's by no means certain that Ipswich will win those 2 games in hand, but they are firmly in the driving seat, you would say now, for the second automatic promotion place. Unless, of course, Southampton just keep going on this ridiculous run they're on. If they win all of their remaining games, they are very much in with a chance of actually getting into the automatic promotion spaces. So it's all getting a bit stupid at the moment because no one up the top seems to want to win it. Well, obviously, Coventry have won it and will probably be crowned champions within the next couple of weeks. But as for the second automatic promotion spot, at this point, it could literally be anyone's guess who goes on and takes it. But yeah, I just don't know at the moment. As a Borough fan, you just have to sort of grit your teeth and just hope that at some point they can get themselves out of this rut that they're in and win a game. But who knows? Who can tell? Who can tell anymore? Predictions wise, I'd gone for a 1-0 win with Whittaker to score. He wasn't even in the squad, so I was never getting that one right. Shoe gone for a 2-1 away win with Waddell, Strelick, and McGree, so no points there. So far, it's still just me with that 1 point for that Coburn goal on Good Friday. The fourth game of the Easter weekend saw Hull City taking on Coventry. This one was live on Sky at 8 p.m. and was an exact repeat of the opening game of the season in more ways than one. Was it not?
It was indeed. However, obviously, as the league settles out, positions become a little bit more apparent. And this time around, rather than it being right at the beginning of the season, the league leaders came to town for the late kickoff on Sky, as Paul said. Also, there's absolutely no need for an 8 o'clock kickoff on a bank holiday Monday. So thanks for that, Sky. You absolute set of yes. It's Coventry looking for 4 points to guarantee promotion before kickoff. Hull just looking for points to cement the playoffs at this point. Probably drifted a little bit too far away now. I suppose you never know, but I feel like automatic is kind of off the cards. They actually both got a point from this game. And it was one of the more entertaining 0-0s I have ever seen. And yes, I've gone straight in with the score and just completely cheese-solided the whole thing. But you know what I mean. So, I don't know if you saw any of it. But I mean, obviously, we were there in person. I honestly thought Hull had a really great showing. They looked much the better team for large periods of the game, I thought. And that's not me with my Hull tinted glasses on. Just, you can see why Coventry are up there. Don't get me wrong. Did they look like league leaders on Monday night? Probably not. Overall in the game, Hull probably should have edged it with 5 shots on target to Coventry's 1. However, in the hunt for points, as we've talked about on the podcast in weeks gone by, Coventry now have their Sheffield Wednesday card at home to play this coming weekend, and they need 3 points to guarantee promotion. I would have loved it to have been Leicester instead, the way it had fallen, but you know, you can't have everything. So yeah, we'll see how they get on this coming weekend. They're potentially going to decide the first of the promotion spaces. From a Hull point of view, I thought Cody Drameh had his best game for Hull, defending and attacking at will, really, down the right. And it was some good work by him that was creating some chances, along with Liam Miller, actually, down the left. But really, the best chances probably were headers from McBurney and Geldhart, which the placement was fine, just not enough power to beat the keeper. The ball was just basically too slow leaving their head. The keeper had time to react, unfortunately. Really good couple of moves, but just I think Hull had decent play most of the night, but as with those 2 headed chances, there's just no real cutting edge. So yeah, it was one of them where you don't get it very often in a 0-0, but you don't, like, I didn't walk back to the car that night feeling like we'd been shortchanged. It was a decent game. It was another point gained against a side that, you know, to all intents and purposes, are going to go up. As we've said, as soon as this weekend now. So, not particularly disappointed in that regard. The only disappointment, if anything, from the entire weekend was that teams in and around, with the exception of Ipswich, have lost points. And not getting the result at Oxford, not managing to finish one of those chances against Coventry, I just wonder how costly that's going to be in a few weeks. I mean, we can probably go into like the other results in the sense of Southampton had to play Wrexham at Wrexham in the same round of games. So the two teams directly below Hull thinking somebody do us a favour, just I don't know, push that button and open up the ground and let both teams fall into the pit. Whatever. Unfortunately, I've had this feeling, I've said it before for a few weeks. I think Southampton are going to be that team this season, and they show absolutely no signs of slowing. Wrexham have turned a bit hit and miss of late. Southampton took full advantage of that by walloping them. Was it 5-1 in the end?
5, yeah.
At Wrexham as well. So I think, unfortunately for Hull, Southampton are probably going to be the team that are going to dislodge Hull. But it's then whether or not we can get enough points to keep Wrexham at bay as well with their intermittent form. We'll see. I'm still at this stage. I'm still hopeful. We're still 4 points clear of seventh, so they keep chipping the points away like they did on Monday, and it'll be fine. But they just need to. I think 5 games left. We've probably got a slightly what would be deemed easier running than some. We've still got to play Leicester. We've still got to play Norwich. We've still got to play Birmingham. So not like teams that really have got Leicester obviously have got something to play for, but the others maybe not quite as much. The chance that they could already be on their jollies by the time that kick off occurs, particularly for Norwich being the last home game of the season and stuff. We'll see.
Yeah, it's. I get the feeling it's going to go all the way down to the wire. Sadly, for both of our teams, and yeah, I don't know. I'm not feeling confident about my boys. Let's put it that way. But stranger things have happened. Stu went for a 2-0 win for Coventry on this one, with Grimes and Onyeka to score, so no points there. I did go for a 1-1 draw, so I get a point for the result there. So I move on to 2 points for the week. Stu's still yet to score. And our fifth and final game of the week took us back into Europe, where FC Porto were taking on Nottingham Forest in the first leg of their Europa League quarter-final. Now, I missed the first goal in this one, sadly, as I went into the kitchen to assist my wife in making the delicious tea that we had. So if you've seen the goal, by all means, please divulge us on how Gomez opened the scoring for FC Porto.
I have seen it. It was a run down the left-hand side with a ball that was put low to the back post, and then it was just swept in at the back stick. However, it was a decent ball. Definitely feel like Forest were a little bit slow on the uptake, and probably at least one of the two centre halves should have been present to put it into Rose Ed. It was a little bit lapse. It was one of them where put it this way, Matt will be fuming. If your team scores it, you're happy. If your team concedes it, the defending was a little bit loose. However,
Oh, don't worry. I was back in the room when this happened.
I was just about to say the second finish of the game was from much further out.
Oh, to say that the equaliser from Nottingham Forest was absolutely buried from 35 yards would be a false statement. It was scored from 35 yards. However, it was scored by Porto. Fernandez was looking to play the ball back to his goalkeeper and put a little bit of extra on it and played it just ever so slightly out of the keeper's reach. So yeah, not great. On the commentary, they sounded quite confused about what they'd just seen, and
I'm not
Yeah,
surprised. It was a lovely finish just inside the post.
yeah, it was. Yeah, to be fair, he picked the one place where the keeper couldn't get it. So yeah, fair play to him. So yeah, 1-1. Into the second half, Igor Jesus came on as a second half substitute for Chris Wood, making his first appearance in God knows how many months. But he was rather somewhat unfortunately, I would say, adjudged to have fouled the keeper before he fired delightfully into the roof of the net. Would have been a hell of a goal to make it 2-1 Forest. Did they actually say officially what it was chalked off for? I'm assuming it was the foul on the keeper.
I didn't hear the announcement, but it was VAR took long enough over it so that when it was then deemed to be ruled out, there was like people didn't really question it after they deliberated over it. But for me, it was a fair challenge. The keeper absolutely made a meal of it, was on his way down, was already down, and then like Jesus's next step, effectively, the keeper was just in his way. The ball had already gone by the time that there was contact, really, like of any kind of nature that could be deemed a foul. It was not. It's just disappointing. It felt like they were finding a way, sort of, like I say, taking that time just to rule it out, really.
Mm, yeah, not the best. After that, I don't know about you, but it kind of felt like it just sort of was just sort of trundling along until we got to the end. Really, Potter had a couple of chances.
Yeah.
Forrest had a couple of breakaways, but didn't really do anything with the chances. Um, but it just petered out to a 1-1 draw. I mean, don't get me wrong, great result for Forest. And you'd maybe think that with the City Ground sort of crowd behind them, when they play the second leg next week, they'll fancy themselves to, at least give it a go. Let's put it that way. And obviously, they're in a position where if they can get any sort of positive result, that puts them into the semi-final. So um, I would have to say you'd take it as a positive from the perspective of Nottingham Forest. They're by no means out of the tie in any way, shape, or form. It's all to play for in a week's time in Nottingham. So that was our final prediction of the week, and it's no points yet again, sadly. So you've gone for a 1-0 win for Porto with. I should have looked this up since last week,
That
shouldn't I?
guy.
Yeah. Pietrzewski.
Bless
Um, and I'd also gone for a Porto win with Pietrzewski and Fofana to score. So annoyingly, I had Igor Jesus as a goal scorer. So if that one had accounted, I would have been on points island. But it didn't. So I end the week with 2 points from 5 games. Stu, a rarely seen 0 points scored week. Sadly, Mr. Stuart Woodmansey.
Well, I had a 0-0 on Monday night, and I've had a nil to match myself now. So
Yeah, 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 yeah. Good point. Yeah, good point. Well made. So we have it. 5 games done. Week 31 in the books. Week 32 is approaching on the horizon and brings with it 3 tremendous games, one per team. So we're going to take a very small, short break to recharge, and then we'll come straight back at you with predictions for Borough, Hull, and Nottingham Forest. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. And just like that, the break is over, and we are right back at you. So, this weekend, week 32, like we said, for Hull and the Borough, 5 games remaining in the season. The first of those remaining 5 games takes place this Saturday, and the first for us sees Marlott Middlesbrough taking on Portsmouth. Feels like it's been ages since we've both played at 3 p.m. on a Saturday.
I didn't even think that was a thing
So
anymore. I thought it was just
no,
we'll just do as ours. We'll
no.
just do as we're told, Mr. Sky. Thank you very much.
I I think there's a distinct possibility. This may be Middlesbrough's last 3 p.m. Saturday kickoff of the season
Now you might be onto some. You might be onto something there.
because the week after They play Ipswich, and that has been moved to the Sunday at 12 p.m. They then have Sheffield Wednesday on the Wednesday, the 22nd of April. Their game against Watford on the 25th of April has been moved to 12:30, and they finish the season against Wrexham, and all those games kick off at 12:30. So yes, this is indeed Borough's final 3 p.m. Saturday fixture.
Hull have one more.
Hmm.
We've got
Hull indeed.
3 p.m.
The week after.
Yeah, the Birmingham home game is 3 p.m. But the Leicester game, we were supposed to play Leicester away on a Wednesday, and then their game the following weekend got moved for TV. So they then moved the Wednesday game to a Tuesday game instead. So yeah, after the next 2 weekends, the last 3 games are all at like weird times because obviously everybody kicks off at the same time on the last day as well, don't they? So
yeah, to sort of avoid any shenanigans, so to speak. So obviously, Middlesbrough versus Portsmouth. It is my team. I'll give my prediction second, which means that Mr. Woodmansey gets to open us up this week. What have you got down for Borough versus Portsmouth?
it won't take you long. You're not going to like it. But the way that both teams are going at the moment, 0-0.
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised. Like I say, Borough haven't won at home since the end of January. Portsmouth scrapping for their lives down the bottom of the division. I wouldn't be at all surprised if this one ends as a draw. As I've got it down as a draw, I've also gone for a 1-1. I've gone for Conway to score for the Borough and Segacic to score for Portsmouth. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that, I'm putting a little bit of positive juju into the world in the fact that like the last couple of times I've predicted Borough to win, and they haven't. So maybe if I predict a draw, I can muster something up. But who knows? Annoyingly, at this point, they might even be down as far as 4th in the division because West Brom play Millwall on Friday night. So they'll go into this one knowing that they can either increase their hold on 3rd, jump up to 2nd because Ipswich are playing Norwich at 12:30, or they will go into the game knowing, shit, the other two have both won. We need to win just to keep pace with the other two. So depending on how the results go on the Friday and the Saturday 12:30 game, this could be anything. At some point, you would think that their luck has to turn and they will get a win. But strange things have happened, and I've known Borough get promoted by drawing the last 4 games of the season. So, who knows? Right, second game sees Sheffield United versus Hull City. Tasty. Yorkshire Derby. It's Mr. Woodmansey's team. He will give his prediction last. I've gone for a 2-1. Away win. Sheffield United team in all sorts. No one knows what's going on at Sheffield United at the moment. So I've gone for a 2-1 Hull win. I've gone for Bamford to score for Sheffield United. And then a McBurney-Gelhardt double for the Tigers. What have you gone for this game yourself?
I think Sheffield United, right at the beginning of this or start of the season, they were in danger of completely sinking, weren't they? And then their form since that point has been enough to put them comfortable, but not like they're not setting the world on fire. I have got the exact same result, but with different scorers. So I've got Gustavo Hamer for Sheffield United because he's an absolute dick. and I've got Miller to score for Hull because again on Monday night against Coventry, he had one of his best performances in a Hull shirt for a very, very long time, and feel like he's very much overdue. But then I have essentially the winner to be scored by McBurney because he is also overdue, and obviously old boy rule. So
Very much part of my thinking as well. And our third and final game of the week sees Nottingham Forest taking on Aston Villa in a matchup of two teams that were playing in the Europa League, potentially just moments before we started recording tonight. But I couldn't possibly say that. I couldn't possibly date the podcast in any way, shape, or form. Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa. Let's just have a quick look and remind ourselves where the table lies from a Nottingham Forest perspective. Because obviously last game out, they beat Spurs, so they find themselves 16th in the
whoa, whoa,
table,
whoa, whoa,
31
whoa, whoa,
playing.
whoa! They didn't just beat Spurs.
Oh no, they absolutely wiped the floor with them. Correct. So they gave them such a bad beating that their manager had to be sacked.
Again.
So yeah, so 16th, played 31, 32 points. Spurs 17th, played 31, 30 points. West Ham 18th, played 31, 29 points. So they're only 3 points away from West Ham, but obviously have a better goal difference. They're a point behind Leeds in 15th, who have 33 points. So it's very much looking like it's one from four to join Burnley and Wolves in going down. Whilst I wouldn't class this as a must win, dare I suggest it's a do not lose game, do you think?
Well, the thing is as well, by the time that they play this game, West Ham play Wolves on the Friday night. So they're
Yeah,
gonna
so that will.
know that they're gonna know what kind of state that they're in. Um, by that point, they're gonna know whether or not West Ham have managed to pick up the 3 points or not. Obviously, that still puts Spurs between them and the bottom three. But then my next question would be, when do Spurs play?
Sunday.
So
They
they've
play
been
Sou-
playing
they
for
they play Sunderland at the same time, 2
right.
p.m. Sunday.
Okay. Well, I think the West Ham result could potentially put a bit of pressure on both of them, but
Mm.
we'll see. I suppose we'll see where that goes.
Yes. Um. mm. What have you gone for?
A very unhelpful 1-1.
Okay.
So I think if you look at the last sort of 5 or 6 games for both teams, they're both in pretty much equal form. The teams that they've played are probably of a slightly different stature, but um, yeah, I've gone for a 1-1. I've got Hutchinson for Forest and Rodgers for the Villa. Bit of goal contributions from out wide for both teams.
Hmm. I I've gone with a 2-1 home win here. Villa have been very, very odd in the league, especially off the back of European games. And I think that Forest could capitalise on that because they seem to have hit a bit of a stride at the moment. Obviously, that game against Spurs should give them massive confidence as well going into the rest of the games this season. Like you say, the fact that they'll know whether or not West Ham are literally on their tails by the time this game rolls around could play into their sort of the way they play the game as well potentially. But yeah, I don't know. I've
I
gone for a
think
2-1 home win.
Forest's goal difference as well is like 9 better than West Ham's.
Yeah.
So that's in this situation very much worth an extra point or whatever in it. So
Oh, very much so. I'd still put them in a. You'd still want to be in Forest's position rather
yeah,
than West Ham's position at this particular
absolutely.
point of the season. So,
And nobody
although
wants to
saying
be
that,
in Spurs' position. So
nobody wants to be in Spurs' position. Absolutely not. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That is your predictions done and dusted for week 32. So that just brings us back to So was it classed as an open training session, or was it just like an open
no,
day?
no, neither. It was a club event that was organised um, by a lady called Natasha, a lovely lady who works for Hull City and her team. And the one of the businesses locally is called One Stop Golf on National Avenue in Hull, and they have a driving range and like a pirate themed crazy golf, but they also have a foot golf course, and
Ooh.
you could put if your kids were season ticket holders, you could put their names forward, and so many were picked out within the different age groups to go and basically play foot golf with Hull City. So we got it's a 9-hole course. They had enough players so that it was like a proper shotgun start. So everybody, the different groups started on a different hole and just worked their way back to sort of like round. So we started on hole 5 today with the boys, and then we had 4 first teamers in attendance, and very much as well as one of the staff members put it, very much the A-listers, if you like. It wasn't any of the under 21s or anything like that. We got Paddy McNair, Matt Crooks, Ollie McBurney, and Charlie Hughes. So it was all players that the kids have seen regularly, all players that the kids were happy that they were there. And what happened was they stayed in pairs, and it was Crooks and McBurney on I think what was the 9th hole, and then Hughes and McNair on what was then hole 1. So you played around, and McBurney and Crooks were very much like giving kids pointers and encouragement as to like where to place the shot and like how they were doing and that kind of stuff. Also taking some time to talk to the parents, which was nice. And then when we got to hole 1, McNair and Hughes took a different approach to it because whilst they were very nice and still very encouraging to the children, they were absolutely getting stuck in and playing against every group of kids that came around. So that was good fun too. My boys were lucky because obviously I have twins, so if one as Natasha said to me today, if one gets picked out, we're not letting one of them down. So that was nice that they both got given a place. And even better for me as their dad, overall for the day, they drew. So we had no arguments on the way home about who was better at foot golf, which was perfect. But yeah, to conclude the day, all of the kids were given like a little custom printed like acrylic medal, and there was like a little chance for photographs and autographs and stuff after the foot golf had concluded. So they got to meet some of them and have a little chat and talk to them about the foot golf, about the rest of the season. I mean, Seth decided that he was going to talk to him about stickers, which is definitely, you can tell that he's my kid. So it was good. It's just something that the club have put on. They've done numerous events, particularly over the last 2 or 3 seasons. But the boys have been dead lucky that they've been. Last season they got to go bowling. This season they went to the Panto at Christmas with them. And then now obviously the foot golf thing. It's completely free to the kids, obviously paid for by the club, and just a really nice sort of community event to do, and just really appreciative of the fact that we got picked out. And yeah, had a great time. Really, really cool.
Nice. I like it. I do like it that we sort of like hear all these like different things that sort of go on like I suppose, would you class it as like in the community, I suppose?
Well, do you know, they don't just do the stuff for the junior Tiger stuff either. They do member events for the adults as well. And in the next couple of weeks, they've got a darts night where grown-ups can go and end up playing darts against some of the first team and stuff as well. So
Oh, okay, interesting.
pretty sure there'll
When
be
was
absolutely zero Guinnesses consumed that night if Mr. Crooks is in attendance at that as well.
I was going to say, when was the last time you dusted off your errors?
Well, the boys got one for Christmas, so we've got one in the garage now. So it's been ongoing. Mr. Walker, if you happen to bump into Mr. Walker, he will tell you because he was round on Monday and was having a go as well. So
Very, very nice. So there you have it. That brings us to the end of another week's podcast here on the CookieCast Podcast Network. I thank you as always to Mr. Woodmansey for joining me to go through the details of both his team, my team, and Mr. Moore's team. I guarantee, like I keep saying it every week, but I'm fairly certain that Mr. Moore will join us again before the end of the season. Join us again next week where we'll go through those predictions that we've just made and we'll look ahead to the week after's games. Oh, it's another big one for the Borough where they'll be playing Ipswich Town. Ooh. Lose that one. I think it would be fairly safe to say that there is no chance they'll be getting automatically promoted. But we live in hope, ladies and gentlemen. We live in hope, and until the very last game is played, you have to stay optimistic. I believe it's that. I believe it is that optimism and that hope that does indeed kill you. But until then, it's tatty bye from me. Bye from Mr. Woodmansey, and we will see you in a week's time. Au revoir.
So there we go, watch things up. Another one done, another one gone. Big thank you for watching, big thank you for listening, big thank you for being here. And before you leave us, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Leave a review where you can leave a review. Check out the website, thecookiecast.com. There we have social media links and an email button, and that way you can get in touch with us. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to these grumpy old men talk about football. If you've enjoyed this episode, please like, share and subscribe.